The New York Football Giants claimed two players off of waivers. Safety Bo Braid and the player you're watching right now, cornerback from the Saints, Rico Payton. Braid, he is a safety from the Baltimore Ravens, and the Giants claimed him. If you want to go watch a breakdown, go to bigblueview.com. We have clips over there. What's going on, though, everybody? This is Nick Filato here. We're going to go through some Rico Payton tape. Rico Payton started his college career at Southern Illinois, was there in 2018, and then transferred to Pittsburgh State, and he was a Division II stud, representing, made All-American, was a team captain, was a very productive player, had 26 career PBUs, 5 interceptions, 64 tackles. He was undrafted in 2024 by the Saints, and he saw some action during the regular season, but he was mostly a special teams player. And from the tape that I've seen on Rico Payton, this is a sticky man coverage type of cornerback who is fluid and who is someone who can get his head around at the catch point. Hey, he can have a conversation with someone on the Giants there, bub. Hopefully he can fix some issues there. But as you're watching on this tape, we'll go through all of these plays individually. You'll see that he's in the hip pocket quite often. He's quick with his transitions. He's fluid. He can sink his hips. He can swivel, and then he can redirect his weight and stay balanced and relatively low. Now, obviously, there's a reason why this individual did not make the 53-man roster for the New Orleans Saints, a team that, is devoid of talent all around their roster. So we want to keep that in mind. But overall, I can understand why this player was claimed by the New York Giants, and I want to go through that, starting with his pass defense. We're watching right on screen at the moment. You see a bunch of run defense play, somebody who isn't afraid to get his nose dirty, albeit isn't the biggest individual. So let's start with some of those pass defensive plays. I appreciate that he had a sub 7.3 cone. It's something you can see on film when he is going through his transitions, but he did run a 4.59 at his pro day with a 1.57 10-yard split, so not the quickest, especially when it comes to running distance, long, sub 32-inch arms, and he's a little bit undersized at 5'11", 188 pounds. So these are some things that we want to keep in mind when we're going through Rico Payton's tape. But again, a sticky man coverage guy, someone who can align and press, who can get his hands on you and understands leverage and where to be on the football field. So you can see on this play, this is during the regular season last year against Xavier Legette, handles the outside release, gets into the hip pocket, stays upfield slightly as to squeeze Xavier Legette off the red line and towards the sidelines. But you can see there's a little stutter move by Xavier Legette there, a little sinking of the hips. You can see that stops Payton in his tracks, but Payton is able to recollect himself, stay balanced, gives up a little bit of vertical leverage, but the throw sails out of bounds. So you can see there was a little bit of a hiccup there. This is where I like Payton the most, is on these in-breaking routes. I feel like he's disciplined with his hips, gains depth, matches the release, mirrors it, and then once this is an inside route that's on a 3rd and short, he breaks through the catch point and gets his hand right into it to force a PBU. And this is, regular season game. That's Andy Dalton throwing the football there. Good positioning, subtle control as to not warrant a flag, but still right on top of his receiving assignment. And he had a couple of these all throughout his tape. You see another one here against the Cardinals in preseason. I think that's Zach Pascal right there, actually. 2024 preseason. See, watch his feet. That's good feet. Good footwork. This is somebody who is athletic in his drop back, as you'll see here in a little bit. Watch that first step towards him. Now he's going to recede, and then he mirrors and he stays square. Hips and shoulders are square. Eyes are on the chest of Zach Pascal. Once Pascal commits to the inside, stay flat. Stay right on the hip, make that contact, get yourself in the better position because it's not a ton of contact, and then get your hand through the catch point. See from the end zone angle, briefly there. Now you're going to see this in the 2020, looks like the underneath defender almost got a piece of that. In the 2025 preseason against Trey Harris, rookie Trey Harris. Similar footwork, right? That first initial step forward. Some may call it a false step, but still he's able to recollect himself, gain a little bit of depth once he sees it's an underneath route to Harris, close with, and I like the recovery speed there because initially it looks like if the quarterback was looking towards Harris, this may have been a touchdown, but the quarterback was looking towards the other side of the field, and then Payton had the closing burst to play through the catch point aggressively to force a PBU. Oh, it's Mr. Trey Lance. Get rid of this football. So these in-breaking routes, he's doing a good job, and I wanted to highlight this incomplete pass and just his overall fluidity in space. Watch his feet. Determined. He handled that little stem adjustment from the wide receiver and then kept right on that route. It's good overall positioning, and that's something that I appreciated about his tape. Feet, match. Now his feet, he's in the turn. He's opened his hips towards the sideline. Then you could see the receiver break face again. So now he has to readjust himself just in case he has to do a smooth transition to close back down on an inside route, but it's an outside route anyways. And he doesn't really lose any space, actually. He doesn't really panic either. You can see that one little quick step, but then he's right back to adjusting himself towards the path of the wide receiver who ends up stumbling out of his own break. That's good overall positioning. And you're going to see some speed turns here. And he's also losing on these reps too, because this is a cover 2 defense. You can't really see the safeties here. And this is a good play by the 49ers where the receiver is going to run inside. And this is a little jam press up by the cover 2 flat defender, being Rico Payton. And Payton makes contact, but then the 49ers did a good job releasing the tight end to the flat. And then Payton has to gain depth automatically, turns towards the inside, and then has to do a speed turn to get back outside. So we was fooled twice on film with routes that were very specific to this situation. But I wanted to highlight how he's fluid in his turn and how he takes the path towards the tight end. Not saying it's necessarily a good play. You know, he does surrender the catch. He was out of position and he allowed the flats to be vulnerable, but still we can highlight some of his athletic capabilities, even in the plays where there are some mistakes. You're going to see something similar here. So he has to do that speed turn. This is a little bit smoother of a turn and the receiver does not hold on to it. But there's another cover 2 where he's going to be in the flat. And he's communicating with his secondary pieces since there was motion here by this tight end, providing a second eligible receiver now towards the field side, which was his side. He points, snap happens, he panics a little bit, smooth speed turn, and he would have been able to make this tackle more than likely before or at the first down yardage. And on the vertical plane, he's also done a pretty damn good job on the tape that we've seen. Here's a nice smooth transition on a comeback route, outside plus splits against, I believe that's Pascal again. Cuts off the angle right away, initial inside leverage. Squeeze him towards the sideline. And just play through. Physical at the catch point, locates the football a lot. And then even on plays where he concedes a catch, he gets his hand in there to knock it away. It's a good play. Here's another one against the 49ers from the preseason. Stay on top, stay on top. This is an underthrown pass, but he's right in the hip pocket once again. And he's squeezing the receiver off the red line towards the sideline, giving the quarterback little space to fit that football in, albeit, again, not the best throw. But he's in phase, and that's all I'm asking for. You want somebody who can compete with, or just be depth even for Deonte Banks and Cordell Flott over guys like Nick Jones and players like that. And it seems like Rico Payton has that type of upside as a young player coming from a D2 school. So it is a big, big pond that he's swimming in now, right? He was a big fish in a small pond before. Now he's a small fish in a big pond. So he has to tread water. And he's going to do that if he earns any reps with the New York Giants. But still a player who is talented enough, not supremely undersized, isn't shy into contact from everything I've seen. We'll see that a little bit later. And who does a solid job. And again, this is against preseason guys. This is Zach Pascal, somebody who was just cut by the New York Giants. So, like, we have to keep that in mind. We don't want to have delusions of grandeur about anybody. But still good overall tape from a technique standpoint. And he's effective on a lot of this film. Here against the 49ers again. I like how he handles this release. Release comes to the split release. Freezes Rico. Rico still disciplined, waits for the wide receiver to go into his vertical stem. Once the vertical stem happens, he turns right at the perfect time to where he can cut that angle off. And that's exactly what he does. Cuts the angle off. There's nowhere to throw the football there. That's just good positioning. It's a good overall play. Not trying to blow smoke. Just is what it is. Here's him in prevent defense as well. I like how he turned around. Prevent defense. They're just ended the game. Desperation heave. But watch how he plays the catch point. He's getting boxed out, but he's able to be harassing enough to knock that football away. Now we're going to see some run defense reps from Rico Payton. Physical. Comes downhill. It's not going to be a thumper. He's not the biggest guy. But you can see how he tracks the running back. Offset, strong eye, handoff. There's nowhere to go. It's bottled up by the Saints, so he bounces it outside towards the contained defender, who is Payton, who contained. Assignment executed. Here's another one where it was a cutback, and he contains after coming inward because it looked like it was going to be an inside run, but he doesn't over pursue, and he's there to ensure that, to be the force defender and ensure that that doesn't break for a bigger play than it has to. Here's another play, him being that contained defender. Wrap up next time, please. But still firm hit. Bottles him up to the outside portion of the running back. Here he is screaming inside. Once he just to stay contained, make sure the quarterback does not have the ball. Then that gap comes open off of the double down block by, I guess these looks like a wide receiver number, but the two tight ends, double Y set that's there. Make that tackle right off the C gap. Or even D gap. Not going to have the biggest stopping power. It's not going to be his thing. But be where you got to be. Hit. Try to drag down as best as you can. Allow the rest of the team to rally and make this tackle. And there's nothing on film to suggest that he can't do that. And here's Rico Payton just disguising a blitz well and just getting in for a sack on Malik Willis last year. That's all the Rico Payton film that we have here today. I'll run through this as I talk before I shut up. This is a player who is in phase, often on the vertical and on those short underneath. Now, on the deeper intermediate routes, we'll see how he does. Cross field, horizontal. I thought his footwork and his positioning were things that impressed me. He's not a deficient athlete. I don't think he's going to be a world beater as an athlete. Again, he ran a 4.6. I think he plays maybe a little bit faster than that based on the film that I've seen him against a bunch of, second and third string players, mind you, but he's not going to be this elite uber athlete either. This is a depth signing, somebody who, again, is going to help out on special teams, but with the dearth of talent in the Giants cornerback room, with Deonte Banks and Cordell Flott battling for that second cornerback starting position next to Paulson Adebo, it's just thin back there. And a player like this could compete with the Nick Joneses of the world. A player like this can compete with some of the back end players that the Giants have on their practice squad and on their active roster right now. And if something were to happen to Paulson Adebo or Cordell Flott or Deonte Banks, you have this player now on your bench who could possibly step in and give you adequate snaps, maybe more because he's still a young developing player. So there's a decent amount to be encouraged about here. And I can, again, understand why the Giants went out and pursued a player with his type of tenacity, similar to Bo Braid, the safety they signed from the Baltimore Ravens. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Head on over to bigblueview.com. And also, let's go Giants. Season's right around the corner. It's exciting times. Take care of each other and have a wonderful day.